Your call is being answered by Audix.
Wayne Samson.
Is not available. To leave a message, wait for the tone. When finished recording, press pound for more options. Otherwise, for assistance, press 0 now. Record at the tone.
Agent Samson, this is Kip LaCrone again. You are failing me. My telephone number is 512-484-4247. I'm still being tortured and terrorized. Every day I wake up and they're saying the most horrendous things that a human being could ever say to someone else. Every time I fall asleep, I'm usually in a fetal position, cupping my crotch or with my hand between my thighs, getting zapped all over my body in pain and discomfort. And they usually keep me up until a point where I finally pass out. Even when I tried to do that, they're still zapping me. They kept me up until, I don't even know when they kept me up to, I think it was certainly past dawn. But you have broken several promises to me. You were to keep my safety and well-being as the number one top priority. That's what you're sworn to do. I assume so. I assume that's part of your oath. Either way, that should be something that you have some concern for. It should be actually your number one top priority. And you are not doing that. I could have died by now. I could die tomorrow. I could die the next day. That is not a suicide threat. Do not treat it as such. You were supposed to interview multiple suspects over 1.5 months ago. 2 of them confessed, and it would take less than an hour of your time to get their confessions. That's very important also because I need them on record confessing to releasing my medical information, which is a HIPAA violation. You were also supposed to find me a voice-to-skull recorder. They do exist. They're not really on the consumer market cheaply. You could absolutely get one, and you did not. That would have been very important so that you could hear what these people are saying to me. You were supposed to respond to requests for help. You told me if I was about to lose my shit that you might come down here or send the McAllen agents over here. You should have done that anyway to get these motherfuckers off of me. You did not do this. You even told me, you said, call me if you're about to lose your shit, because you seem to be somewhat sympathetic and understanding, like if someone's going through this all day, like they would lose their shit. You would lose your shit if you're going through this for 10 minutes. You were also supposed to get me in contact with Travis County Sheriff's Department, since Sheriff Sally Hernandez can't be bothered to look into why her people ignored the fact that multiple victims and witnesses already provided individual supporting statements in writing and in person with the sergeant of Travis County Sheriff's Department, who did absolutely nothing. I've demanded rescue from you several times. You have not even called me back. You sent me some bullshit emails procrastinating things, and it's risking my life and my well-being. Every day I'm being dehumanized, I'm being demoralized, I'm being treated inhumanely, I'm being physically and sexually assaulted. This is a fact. This is not in my head. There is no physical or mental ailments combined. Even the 10 or 15 that I list in almost every single description of my YouTube videos, there's absolutely no way that even all of those combined could account for what I'm going through. That is absolutely illogical. It is irrational to even think that. It is irrational and illogical to think that I have a mental illness. I might have a mental illness because of this stuff and because of your lack of response to this. So you get off your fucking ass and you get me the fuck out of here. I demand that you do this by tomorrow. Again, I don't know what's going to happen if I go through this another day, another week, another month. That's on you. I'm posting these on YouTube. Your name is up there. Your contact information is up there. So regardless of what happens from now on, you're going to be remembered for someone that allowed me to be pushed closer and closer past what a human being's limit is, past the point where someone might hurt themselves or hurt someone else. I refuse to do that. And that is inexcusable, and it's unconscionable that you would take advantage of that and take your sweet ass fucking time investigating acts of terrorism, acts of torture, both in a physical and a sexual nature. I'm being sexually assaulted almost every single time I've called you. That is fucking insane. It is fucking ridiculous. I'm not imagining my balls being crushed. I'm not imagining my head being crushed. In the videos, if you ever would fucking look at them, you can see that I put my hand over my head or behind my neck or above my feet or hover them above my feet. My brain is not imagining the pain and then rerouting that to my fucking hands. Oh, and by the way, I have a witness who did that same exact thing and felt that, which is very hard to do because they don't want witnesses. And so anytime I've tried that in the past, which hasn't been very much, they just stop it, they move it, or they hit my foot at another point where the person isn't covering it. Once again, you are failing me. This is the most important thing that you'll be a part of in your entire life. And I know that may discredit me, or because that could have a natural response by a human being to be like, what is he talking about? This is torture. This is terrorism of a type that affects every single person in this country, possibly the world. This affects more people and has affected more people, I believe, than 9/11 or terrorism like 9/11. And how ironic it is that, or how odd it is that these people are using devices that were used to help those crisis scenarios, those crowd and riot control and gunmen and hostage situations and other crisis scenarios. So they're using things that are supposed to thwart those things and thwart terrorism to cause terrorism of a nature that is so inhumane that no one will ever believe it in their entire life until they see it. This is not something that you sit on your ass. And if you're pretending to not know, or if you're pretending to procrastinate, that is a huge mistake. Because I'm telling you, they've already told me that they know that you know. And I believe, and I hope, that 550 error message that I got from you was a hint that was trying to tell me, we're on it, we believe you, because of that 550 error message, which I've never gotten a 550 error message in my entire life until I misspelled Mark McLeod's name to the AUSPS.org. It's basically an alternate email address for austintexas.gov. It's basically the same thing for Mark McLeod, who he or someone impersonating him, and it very well could have been him because he is in the Special Weapons and Tactical Unit. It's very possible that it was really him or someone impersonating him. And by the way, the phone number is listed there. You could fucking cross-reference the phone number and help find these guys. There's so many ways that you could find these guys within a 24-hour period. It is fucking ridiculous that I'm still sitting here every single fucking day while they say the bullshit that comes out of their mouth. And you would never believe it. That alone is inhumane. It is beyond schizophrenia. Schizophrenia is not like that. Schizophrenia, people may think they hear people from their life, but it's not like a soundboard. At least not the person that I spoke to and asked about it. He said they don't sound like them, but sometimes they pretend to be them. And it's not overlapping. It doesn't coordinate with pain on your body. Schizophrenia doesn't cause pain. And schizophrenia doesn't happen at 41. And schizophrenia does not also cause you to have the ability to have sight beyond sight and premonitions. So when they told me the guy in 301 has your phone and hacked your Google account, and then they did a Simon Says with him when he followed instructions in the parking lot while I was watching from my hotel room above, I could not have known that. And I kind of discounted the Simon Says thing because I was like, well, maybe maybe it's just a fluke, and it wasn't like that elaborate. But it was definitely suspect. And they already told me, and I didn't know the guy. I did not know the guy. I would have never guessed within a million guesses that he was the person that had my phone and who hacked my Google account. I could have never guessed that. I didn't know him. And his email address, or one linking to his Facebook and Google Plus profiles, was put in as my recovery email address. And I found that out after they told me that. And then I found out at the same time when I did the Find Your Device tool that my phone was located in his room, or the one above, but come on, or right outside it. So he had my phone, and he was in receipt of a stolen device, and he hacked my Google account. And APD didn't take the hour of time that it would have taken to get to him because he had an ankle monitor on at the time. It would have been very easy to find and to put pressure on to tell the truth. And you're still sitting here doing nothing. That is unacceptable, and I will never forgive you for that. I don't understand how you can live with yourself knowing that I'm suffering every single day and that other people have suffered. I'm telling the truth on this. And once again, they could be on you And I know that sounds paranoid, but once again, this is something that is worth covering up for. They've already done it by doing what they did to me and having APD plant drugs on me and harass me, and who I believe is a part of this group, or they're certainly aiding this group. So this is something definitely worth spending time to cover up, because they know that I have evidence. They know, and once they found out that there was an FBI agent on it, they knew that the gig was up. They either knew that they were going to have to try their hardest to get you to not believe me. And again, a voice to skull is a real thing. You were supposed to get me a voice to skull recorder, and you didn't. And I'm telling you, that device and those tools are already used by mentalists when they have participants in a crowd, like they did with Tyra Banks on America's Got Talent, to think of numbers to use in a trick, either to guess those numbers themselves or just to use them in a trick, so people kind of forget about the fact that's the actual trick. They're actually broadcasting those numbers subliminally, so they can literally use this to basically sway people's thoughts. They can manipulate people. It's essentially mind control, but not the mind control like conspiracy theorists talk about. It's a very practical type of mind control, and it's basically whispering subliminal messages into someone. And also with the fact that they're very well adept at taking these devices and striking the body in certain ways that cause certain emotions, because sometimes when you have certain emotions, you have a physical response to it. They have basically mimicked hitting the body in certain ways to where you feel those illnesses, or when you feel those things, those physical sensations after a certain illness, like fear or anger or sadness, and or just depression or something like that, or just a lack of energy, being fatigued, extremely fatigued. They can hit the body in certain areas to where they mimic that, and because you associate that feeling with feeling that certain way, that can also cause your emotions to do that. And I am not making that up, because they have done that every single day. And I wake up every day feeling like shit. I go to bed feeling like shit, and that is an understatement. They are demoralizing and dehumanizing me while they sexually and physically assault me and say the most horrendous things that you can ever think of. I believe that they are responsible for other people killing themselves. They've already confessed to some of that to me. I don't know if that's true, because they confessed to things that they didn't do. But I did not just suddenly in the past 5 years go through this horrible thing that other people have gone through, some of whom don't even know that there were people behind it, where other people went crazy, other people thought people were talking behind their back. So it's like my fiance thought I was plotting behind his back, and then immediately after that, my best friend moves in after my ex-fiance moves out, and then he thinks I'm talking behind his back. He literally thinks that he hears me clearly out loud multiple times talking behind his back, and then he goes crazy and he moves out. And then I hear him, and then other people moved in and moved out, thinking people were talking behind their back or plotting against them. And then on next door, my neighbors, they had already spotted people flying drones in the neighborhood out of a company van, and those people lied and said that the HOA said that they were authorized to do aerial shots. And then HOA immediately got out next door and said that wasn't true, and the people fled. And then I saw drones outside my house. I was sitting in one of the rooms, and one of them flew right up to my window. And right after I moved out of my house, after I lost it, a woman posted on Nextdoor from that same neighborhood in Senate Hills on East 51st Street near 183. And she also posted on there saying that she saw a drone spying through her window, or outside her bedroom window. So this is a real thing. And I'm telling you, this is something that people would kill over. This is something people would cover up for. All those things that they did to me were attempts to cover up things. They were attempting to discredit me by making me look like a crazy meth head, neither of which I am. And I can't tell you how, I'm not even leaning on it now. I can't tell you, I wish I had some, because it would only give me a relief for a few minutes, because they don't even do that thing anymore where they would stop torturing me, and at least I would be able to enjoy myself for a few hours. Now it's basically a few seconds. But I can't tell you how I am grasping at straws, and do not take this as a suicide threat. Do not lock me in a mental institution. They already did that for no reason whatsoever, the Maynard police to cover this up as well. Or these people manipulated them into doing that. When I kept saying, I'm not thinking about hurting myself or anybody else. I'm quiet and I'm in my room, and my landlord takes a hammer to my door and then takes the door handle off. And he's a constable, a part-time constable at Travis County Sheriff's Department. You think that's normal? I'm sitting there quiet in my room. And again, these people can make people hear other people and throw voices around. So maybe he did think that I was being loud in the room, because I'm telling you, it doesn't have to be subliminal. They have pumped the volume up on this so much where it sounded like there was a gigantic, humongous, like monster or a huge ass speaker outside my bedroom door, or just in the other room with the door open. They can make this sound so fucking loud that it is insane. They haven't done that in a while to me, but I can't take this anymore, and I'm ashamed of you for letting this go on for so long and not taking the appropriate action. You are not responding appropriately to this, and you keep ignoring me, and that's like, you're killing me. Essentially, you're essentially letting me be tortured and terrorized, and that is something that you will always be remembered for. But you can at least make a better decision now and help stop this, because this is going to be something that's going to be the biggest news story in the world. I guarantee it. I'm a smart person. I have a computer science degree from UT, and it doesn't even take a smart person to come to that conclusion. This is local law enforcement and or government, with the aid of local law enforcement, being terrorists of a kind that affects more people than the type of terrorists that one typically conjures up in their mind. And it affects so many people, because imagine if they start mass producing these and start manipulating people, which is, I think, really what this is leading to. I really think that this little group was designed more for high profile things, and maybe that's why it was in Austin, Texas, because that's the capital of Texas, and a lot goes on down there. Maybe they're affecting politicians. And there's also the high tech industry, so maybe the company that makes these devices is there, or maybe there's important companies there that they would like to influence. I'm telling you, that's exactly what they can do these devices for. I'm sure that they've used it on my sister and my dad before. I'm absolutely certain of that. And it could be currently used on you. But if you look on paper, it is so irrational and illogical to think that I have all of those mental, or even some of those mental and other physical ailments, and they still would not account for this. If you believe that, then you would also have to believe that I have the power to foretell the future, and that I have sight beyond sight, and that you would also have to believe that I'm suffering from ghosts or poltergeists, because they're pushing things around and they'll knock glasses off tables that are not unstable. They'll just knock the glass off, or they'll push things around. They literally do that. They don't do that very much, but they push me around. I literally am being pushed into walls. I'm not losing my balance. I'm not. And they're causing my muscles to. They're zapping my muscles. They're zapping my heart. They're zapping me all fucking day long, and I can always feel for those beams again, which I have multiple witnesses on written and in-person interviewed record that have attested to the fact that they felt those beams too. And there's another victim on record too, and there's other victims that I've listed that can be on record if you would simply talk to them. But don't waste time talking to them. Get me the fuck out of here tomorrow. I demand that you that you get me safe tomorrow. That doesn't mean putting me in a mental institution, because they'll just come over there and zap me there, and I don't belong in one of those. That pushed me closer to suicide than ever before, and I still wasn't suicidal, because I don't believe in an afterlife, and I don't want to not exist anymore. But I don't want to continue suffering something that is such a painful thing that it would push anyone else, and possibly me in a parallel timeline, beyond the brink to where they would do that. And they also push people to hurt other people. They try to get me to kill officers that they made appear to be sketchy, and who possibly were sketchy, some of whom I know were sketchy, and some of whom I think were sketchy. But then these people can manipulate your senses to the point where you can't really trust them 100% at all. Well, you can't really trust them 100% anyway. But in these cases, it's like, oh my God, this is so important, and this is so serious, and you are not responding to this appropriately. So stop lying to me and get me the fuck out of here. And stop lying to my dad too, or maybe he's lying to me too, because he said that you called him. You said that there was nothing to look into, that this was nothing. That's fucking bullshit. If you told him that, I fucking hate you. Maybe you are in on it with them if you did tell him that. But if you guys are just pretending because you're investigating this to some degree, you're not. You're basically part of their group. If you're letting them do this, you are aiding a terrorist group. You're sitting by or you're recording them. It's like, how much footage do you fucking need if you are recording them? Like, 10 minutes of this is enough. They can also recreate that after they do the much more important thing, after the number one most important thing, which is get people to safety, like me and my dog. And after the second most important thing, which is find out what other people are in this network or other networks that they're aware of that are doing this, or that are helping them do this, or that are aware of this.
15 seconds to finish recording. Record at the tone.
And who the other victims are. Because I'm telling you, this has affected at least hundreds of people, if not thousands of people in Austin and the surrounding area. And I can't even imagine how many more across the country and world. Like, get your shit together.
Length recorded. To re-record, press 2-1. To approve as is, press pound. To make private, press 1. To make priority, press 2. Priority. To make private, press 1. To remove priority status, press 2. To include a fax, press 5. To send, press pound. Thank you for leaving your message.